Here's something that might surprise you, Ben. One of America's most influential scientists spent his early years walking through fields having conversations with flowers. And rather than being dismissed as strange, his unique connection with nature led to agricultural innovations we still use today.
That's fascinating about George Washington Carver, PAPPY. You know what really gets me? The fact that someone born into slavery during the Civil War went on to become a presidential advisor and revolutionize American farming.
Well, his story really begins with an act of incredible cruelty, followed by remarkable kindness. As an infant, he and his mother were kidnapped by raiders. While his mother was never found, he was returned to Moses and Susan Carver, who raised him as their own.
Hmm. And they encouraged his unusual interest in plants, right? Even when other people thought it was strange to see this young boy talking to flowers.
Precisely, they recognized something special in him. But here's what's really incredible. When he couldn't find a nearby school that would accept black students, he just started walking miles and miles, sleeping in barns, doing chores for lessons.
That determination led him to become the first black student and teacher at Iowa State College, which was huge for that time period.
But you know what really shows his character? He left that prestigious position to help struggling farmers in the South. At Tuskegee Institute, he saw soil depleted by decades of cotton farming and thought there has to be a better way.
So, what made his agricultural approach so revolutionary?
Well, he introduced this brilliant system of crop rotation using peanuts and sweet potatoes. But then, and this is where it gets fascinating, he didn't stop there. He developed hundreds of products from these crops: paints, plastics, dyes, and even milk substitutes.
And unlike modern inventors who patent everything, he gave all these discoveries away freely, right?
Exactly. He had this excellent quote about success. It is not the style of clothes one wears, nor the kind of automobile one drives, nor the amount of money one has in the bank. These mean nothing. It is simply a service that measures success.
That philosophy seems so radical today, especially given that his discoveries could have made him incredibly wealthy.
You know what's particularly relevant now? His emphasis on sustainable agriculture. He was warning about soil depletion and promoting environmental stewardship as early as the early 1900s, long before it became a mainstream concern.
And his methods of natural fertilization and crop rotation are precisely what many organic farmers are returning to today.
Here's something that often gets overlooked. While he was making all these scientific breakthroughs, he maintained this deep spiritual connection to nature. He saw his work as a way of understanding divine creation, saying nature was like an unlimited broadcasting station through which God speaks to us every hour.
That combination of scientific rigor and spiritual awareness is pretty unique, especially for someone who advised presidents and transformed American agriculture.
And you know what's really striking? Even at the height of his fame, he lived simply in his quarters at Tuskegee, still walking through gardens and talking to his beloved plants. He never lost that childlike wonder about nature.
Well, that really speaks to his character. Here's someone who could have lived in luxury, but chose to stay focused on his mission of helping others.
Looking at his legacy today, I think there's something profound we can learn from his approach. He showed that sometimes the most significant innovations come not from imposing our will on nature, but from being quiet enough to listen to what it's trying to tell us.
That's really the heart of it. This is the idea that actual progress comes from working with nature rather than against it.
And perhaps that's the most critical lesson from George Washington Carver's life, that sometimes the most significant discoveries come from simply paying attention, whether it's to flowers, to soil, or to the needs of others around us.